Hello, it's Joan E here. If you're one of those people that's having a really hard time grasping the idea that the world is run by the demons and aliens and the reptilians that live in the ground and the eight people in the center of the earth and the angels and the devil himself, then this is your channel. Do I think any of those things don't exist? I don't know. I don't know if they exist. What I do know exists, though, is human beings. And I study them. And I want to know why we do the things we do. So every time I hear a story about a demon or a satanic ritual or reptilians' eye slits caught on TV or shapeshifters, I go back to the one thing I do know exists, and that's humans. Humans have a specific behavior. We are not new. We are not unique. We all have them, and we've had them ingrained in us from before we were even conceived. The animal world has instincts. Humans have instincts. We are an animal, and this is what I believe is truly going on in this planet. If you believe in God, I'm all for that. I do not. Does that mean that I'm wrong? No. Does that mean you're wrong? Absolutely not. I don't know if he exists. In my mind, it exists at a different playing field, right? It's all a part of our behavior. The concept of God is a human behavior. It's something that we do instinctually. We don't want to believe that we are capable of such horrors. Therefore, we throw them onto supernatural beings. That is a human behavior. That's why little kids say he did it. They don't want to admit they did it. They blame someone else. So that's what I cover on this page, this channel. That's what Brooks and I study. This is what we believe. If you want to learn more about human behavior and how it applies to people today, in our actions, in our rituals, in all the silliness that we're doing, including the outbreaks and the illnesses and the Illuminati and the government, and where it all gets linked back to a simple human instinctual behavior, then you're on the right channel. I hope you'll keep watching. We've got a lot more to bring you. We've really hit it hard now, because the more we talk about it, the more we're starting to see the connections of our human instincts, and the reason that we're able to be so controlled, the reason why we will drop at their snap of their fingers and we worship them, is because that's what we were naturally, instinctually built to do. And they know this. The elites know this. They'll tell you that. They know how to control people, because what they do is they understand human behavior. If you want to get ants to go around in a circle, then you have to understand what makes them go in the circle in the first place. And then you manipulate that circle to your advantage, and voila, the ants will walk around the circle. That's exactly what the elites do to humans. Does that make them smarter than us? No, that makes them assholes. But you can be as smart as them, because you need to understand their human behavior. It's time to flip the scales on them. It's time to say, we understand you now. They love that human beings right now are convinced that they're the devil. They love that they have convinced you that they're going to promise all these things. They love that they're fooling you. And they laugh all the way to the bank as we buy their cereals and their organics. And they trick us into tofu and all these other things. Can you remember when we were convinced of all these things that were good for us that have turned out to be awful? An apple a day keeps the doctor away, so people started eating apples, and then they're sticking things in them. And I'm not talking about razor blades. But that certainly was a convenient way to start getting people to stop making and passing out homemade goods, to start getting human beings to buy store-bought and prepackaged items so they could poison you in another way. They took one person's sick idea and they inflated it to a degree that caused each and every person, including schools, to no longer allow homemade items. Everything must be store made. So instead of the neighbor down the street who may or may not be poisoning your kids with apples, the government for sure is poisoning you with apples. They know what you're going to do. They already know. And every time they do it and you follow suit because that it's worked, they up the ante to where now they can cry coronavirus, and each and every one of us are going to line up to get a shot because we're afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of taking someone else's life. Everyone should have that fear. Once you start to understand human behavior, your world will change. You will stop looking for illogical answers and you will start seeing the logical ones. Do they eat babies on pizza? I absolutely believe they do. Was the Super Bowl an Illuminati ritual? You're darn tootin' it was. But just like children will sit down Christmas Eve and bake cookies and leave milk because in their heart of hearts, they believe that by doing such, it's going to bring them good fortune the next morning, gifts from Santa Claus. They follow these rituals as well because, yes, they are fooled. They believe, just like others do, that there is a supernatural force that is going to give them longevity, life forever, outside of doing good. They want a life forever without having to be a good person. They have manipulated hell so that it's not a horrible place. How many times have you heard him say, if all the good people are in hell, that's where I want to go. Well, all the celebrities, I didn't mean good people, you know what I mean. If all my friends are there, they're all having a good time. That's what they've turned hell into. I believe they believe that. And I believe they believe it just like a 4-year-old making cookies. And once we get to an age where we realize that Santa Claus isn't there and someone has been manipulating our reality, and we come to that understanding, then we can move on. We can become something else and focus our Christmas Eve on other things. We've convinced the world that they are good and we are bad. Something must have happened. So we had to have done something for all this bad stuff to happen to us. When in reality, the ones that are telling us that are the ones doing all these bad behaviors. They're bullies on a play yard. I hope you'll come back and watch some more of our videos. We're going to talk a little bit more about the 5 archetypes of fear and how it's used to control you. I'm going to do more videos on WikiHow and what that says and how to control you with more examples. I've done one where I show WikiHow how to control people, and I used this virus as an example. I'm going to give you more off that same article. It's right there in front of you. How do you control people? That article from WikiHow is hanging up in the White House. They're not your friends. They don't want you they don't care. The celebrities, they act like they're their friends, your friends. They talk to you and say, my little monsters, and I love my fans. In reality, they love your money. They love your money. It allows them to live happy with everything they could ever imagine. Cars, homes, clothes, makeup, whatever it is. They're using us. They're playing off us. And if it was a celebrity's life or yours, I guarantee you they will push you off the bridge before they jump. Every time, all the time. Stop buying their albums. Stop going to their concerts. Stop seeing their movies. Stop downloading their whatever YouTube channels. Stop buying their makeup. Stop being a consumer. And if we could all do that, do you know the impact? The stock market is important not to poor people, but to the rich. That's why every time it takes a dive, they become fearful. They're afraid. They're afraid that Santa Claus won't come tonight. They're not going to get a stocking full of gifts. Their tree won't be full. We can crash the stock market by saying we're not going to buy the expensive things anymore. We aren't going to buy more than we need. We're going to be consumers of personal, right? So I only buy what I actually need. Stop wasting food. Stop buying food and letting it rot in your fridge. Stop going to restaurants that throw out tons of food and yet won't give it to the poor because it could be contaminated. My skies are contaminated. It's all about control, every bit of it. They understand our behaviors and they're using them against us. And Joan E is going to expose them for that. So if you have a hard time believing in the supernatural and you want to look for something that makes a little bit more sense, and I again, let me stress, I have no idea if aliens exist. I don't know that. I've never seen one. I need to see the real deal, not a UFO, because I still think those are government planes. UFOs aren't aliens to me. I would need to see an alien in my yard, come up to me with a ray gun, zap me in the face. I'll come back down here, I promise, and tell you I was wrong. But until then, that's not what I see. I don't see demons hurting people. I see humans hurting people. Could they be possessed by demons? I don't know. I've never seen the demon. I've only seen the human hurting other people and then telling me they're possessed by a devil. I've only been told they're possessed by the devil. I've only been told there are aliens in those spacecrafts. I've never seen them. I do, however, have proof of human beings, an animal of this planet, top of the food chain. I have proof, evidence, irrefutable that they exist. And that's what I want to expose. I hope you'll keep joining. I hope you'll keep watching our videos. Sometimes I get preachy, I'm sorry. Sometimes I try to keep it funny, and I'm not sorry for that. And, sometimes I'm really just uploading these videos to remind myself not to be a consumerism. Believe me when I say these things that I struggle with this. I am not 100% self-sufficient. I am not a prepper. I don't have tons of food in my pantry. I don't have all of these things. I'd like them, but I don't have them yet. So as I'm learning and I'm getting out of the matrix and I'm seeing human beings for human beings and not alien pods, I'm sharing it with you, and I hope you'll see the same thing. Joan E out.